Still I rise to the top. Mommy, you should see me now. Life's so lavish and I'm superstar status so high that I can't come down. So if you're with me, put your hands up. Let's get this money, and smile for the camera. Life's so lavish and I'm superstar status so high that I can't come down. So if you're with me, put your hands up. Let's get this money, and smile for the camera.
Good time for good discussion. You know that anywhere you go, they'll be looking. Despite all the concerts that we be booking, and all this effort that I'll be putting down is for you. So stop tripping. They know about the flights and resorts we hitting. They know how many checks that the boys been written. So stick to the dive and let them do the flipping. And I'ma stick to freeze cause they better than my written. Chillin' by a pool, kicking L's, getting lifted. Took a chance so I knew I would never miss it. Now I have haters, no time to dismiss them. Waking up high, see the beach in my vision. Privacy in the door, the beast is a mission. Won't stop till the whole world listens. But that's gonna take some time. Either you pop or you drop. No, the boy gon'
Still
stop.
I rise to the top. Mommy, you should see me now. Life's so lavish and I'm superstar status so high that I can't come down. So if you're with me, put your hands up. Let's get this money, and smile for the camera.
We hope you're having a wonderful time while we play some great music on Game Time. Western Boone Junior Senior High School promotes good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner.
It's a powerful combination. The Weibo Stars and Game Time. This is the best music.
Because it revs you up.
Here at Western Boone High School, we back our stars.
Okay. Okay, let's get this started here tonight to try to value your time and be able to get you out of here, do the best I can. You can put me on the clock. Hopefully we can get somewhere around no more than an hour, maybe less, but I appreciate everybody taking the time to come in and talk all things athletics. You know, we have grades 6 through 12, the athletic department here. So for any new sixth grade parents, my name's Jeremy Dexter. I'm entering my 7th year here at Western Boone, and Jen Bales is athletic administrative assistant, and she, we're just talking about that, 4th year here. So we welcome you, and we'll try to move through this and give you all the necessary information that you'll need to have a smooth year, I hope. Couple things, just housekeeping items. We want to make sure anybody in here, and raise your hand if you did not get a ticket when you signed in. Jen has some extras. I don't know, you don't have to raise your hand if you accidentally took like 5, you know, to see if you could have better odds. But hopefully everybody took one. And there'll be a few things throughout for many reasons to try to those of you that actually come in person, we'd like to have a chance to reward you on a few things. Also, listening to my voice for an hour can put anybody to sleep. So try to just break it up every 10 or 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and raffle something off for you. So a couple other things. I know we're kind of hustling in, but afterwards out at the table, in the cafeteria, there are some different items for sale out there. We have some different types of hats. We have these baseball type jerseys that have never been worn that are pretty neat, and then some flags and just different items out there, along with all sports passes that can be purchased afterwards. And then there'll be a few things, again, we'll raffle off, but Jen wants to keep that a surprise right now. Other than we know there'll be 3 family all sports passes that we will raffle. If you've already purchased yours, and you would win it, we'll reimburse you as we go. So anything else I'm missing before we kick it off? Okay, I'm going to skip to just a couple things from last year we like to go over and just highlight. It's kind of a champion slide that we put together, but our volleyball team were regional champions. We had we had our girls swim team be sectional champions, multiple individual sectional champions, and we had 3 conference championship teams. And the neat thing one really neat thing to highlight is that in the conference, there's an all-sports competition for the girls and an all-sports competition for the boys. Basically, it's just a point system. If you finish first, you get 8 points. You finish second, you get 7th, or you get 7 points, and so on. And our girls won that all-sports competition, which is quite an accomplishment by them. It's only happened a couple times in school history, and we're real proud of that. So just something to highlight. These are all of our all-conference athletes. We had 39 first-team all-conference and 40 second-team all-conference. These are all voted on by coaches of other schools. So, again, well represented in the conference. We have an athletic ambassador program. We've done it long enough now. I think we're going into year 5 on that. So if you've had your kids going through the elementaries in the past 5 years, if they were in 3rd grade, we'd actually have, I guess we're getting to the point where our 8th graders, 7th and 8th graders might have experienced athletic ambassadors coming into their school and talking to them. There's sort of a group that we highlight as the face of the athletic programs. When you have our varsity teams, you'll go to varsity events and they'll read sportsmanship statements. If we host sectionals, they'll be team hosts. You'll see them around in their ambassador shirts. They cut cake and hand out cookies at the banquets for the junior high. But it's a group that is nominated by coaches, and then a committee rates them based off of accomplishments, and it's all done by a point system similar to the National Honor Society. And real proud of that group and what they do, and just something for your athletes to strive for. This is the group that we'll have this year. Strength and conditioning this year. Really believe that our strength conditioning program is a large part of the success of our athletic programs. Being a smaller school, we have a lot of multi-sport athletes. And our coaches of the last couple of years, I kind of charged them with the responsibility to give out accountability measures and positive reinforcements for their kids going to strength and conditioning. And I also have given some opportunities for coaches to earn extra stipends to attend and to be a part of the instruction. And it's really led to an even further growth in our strength and conditioning program this year. We had 96 athletes go to 17 out of the 20. you can see the breakdown there. But daily we averaged over 50 girls and 80 boys at that. We had a lot of athletes go to more than half. And all of our athletic ambassadors went to more than half. That's a requirement to be an ambassador. So real proud of that program, and just any way that you can support that is greatly appreciated. And I know it takes a lot of effort to get athletes there during the summer, so we're appreciative of that. Multi-sport athletes, we, I think it's probably been 4 or 5 years now where I implemented a 3-sport athlete patch. Again, I think that's a large part of our success is the ability to share our athletes and spread out across the board. And we had, you'll see on the next slide, our 3-sport athletes. But at the high school level, you get a 3-sport athlete patch as a recognition. At the junior high level, you would get the opportunity to get numerals for your jacket. Athlete has to compete in 4 seasons in grades 6 through 8. So 4 different seasons during those 3 grades to get those. And then you hold on to those and hope that you don't lose them for a few years to get your jacket. That's always fun. Happily, yeah. Jen will happily sell you another set. You're going to want to, yeah. Okay, we'll wait. We'll wait for that. Yeah, why don't we, let's give some away. They're tired of listening to me already. Yeah. Am I deciding what we're giving away? Okay, I can do that. Let's do it. All right, let's just go ahead and knock out a family pass right out of the gate here.
All right, there it is. Do I need to read it?
I can't.
236.
I did just turn 40. I don't know if I can read that. 2368944. 2368944.
Going once.
Be real upset if I mess that up. 2368930.
Somebody,
Woo. Okay.
all right.
There we go. Did not. Okay. All right. 3-sport athletes, 53 of them. You think about that, 53. We're a school at the high school, I'm talking high school on this. We're a school of about 520. So you're looking at 10% of our high school students that are 3-sport athletes, a lot more that are 2-sport athletes, and so on. Amazing accomplishment. These are a few things in the past year that when you go to events you've either seen or you're going to see that have been facility upgrades. We have a very supportive administration for athletics, a very supportive school board, very supportive community in general. And so we've been able to add soccer lights, baseball and softball lights to the varsity fields. This year in the main gym, there'll be new scoreboards. The main gym scoreboards will be switched to the junior high gym. And those 4 old scoreboards in the corners of the junior high gyms will be taken down. You'll see a lot of campus branding this year. There's a lot of WB mats when you enter athletic gyms. There'll be these things we call avenue banners all over in the next couple weeks on the light poles that you can see from 32, just with WBs on them and stars, and just a lot of things that we're proud of, as we continue to improve our facilities in every way that we can. And we've also purchased a good amount of new equipment across the board. Always try to share just kind of a highlight of some things. All the sports, we're helping and trying to support. Our booster club, which we'll talk to you in a little bit about, is a large part of being able to make that happen. Our gym wall sponsorships, our program sponsorships, all of those things play a role. But been able to purchase a lot of things. The last couple of years we've worked with the youth wrestling team to purchase 2 different new mats. We're real proud of that because now when we host our Weibo duels and WrestleMania, we're not having to take the mats from the wrestling room down. It's a lot of good equipment that's being put forward to your athletes to be able to improve and make them look good when they're playing and be safe and all of that. So we'll talk a little bit more about the boosters and how they help us with that as well a little bit. One thing I want to reference, this is something, sometimes when you talk about like different bills and different laws and, some of it you just have to do. But this AED law is something that I fall real in line with as far as being, proud to see happen and of course, proud to see us as a school corporation adopt it. But basically, to give you in a nutshell, Senate Bill 369 indicates that there needs to be an AED at every athletic event. There needs to be an AED that can be actually operated within 3 minutes of an incident. With that, working to make sure that we have AEDs at our soccer facility, an AED that stays there, an AED that stays at softball and baseball, an AED that stays at track, the turf field, and tennis. There are 3 AEDs in this building, in the cafeteria, in the academic wing upstairs, and next to the weight room. We also have our athletic trainer has a mobile AED on them at all times. This is a new law, yes, but something that, we're thrilled to jump on board with and have them in these places. Hopefully they never have to be used, but, as you see, in the news, quite often at different points, it saves lives. So it's something from a parent perspective that I wanted to make sure you're aware of, that you can expect and know that we're following that, and our coaches and are also National Federation High School trained on sudden cardiac arrest and AEDs, and they would be able to use them as well at those locations. So I just want to talk about that for a minute, and you'll see those at the different facilities this year. Okay, a couple things we've talked about. Corporate sponsorships. If, we have a gym wall sponsorship program that you'll see when you're in the gym. Just these diamond signs, they all look the same. If you would know any businesses or want to be a part of, adding to that wall, we contact the athletic office and we'll work with you on that. You'll see when we go to events, there's a program book, a pretty thick book that is put together in each season, and in there can be corporate sponsorships done. There can also be spotlight ads for your student athletes that can be placed in there as well. You want to say anything about spotlight ads?
And just to piggyback off what Mr. Dexter just said, that corporate sponsorship piece, that money is how we are able to do facility upgrades, some of them, and then to buy new equipment and things. So that's where that comes from. And then it also, the ads that we put into the program book here, that's how we pay for the book. It's not a moneymaker. We break even on it every year. And it's something that we're really proud of. The program book it's a roster book for the high school. So we've got the team picture information, we have school records for each sport in that season, but we also offer what we call spotlight ads. So if you have a high school student, you can choose to do a spotlight ad for your athlete. And I've got some pictures up there. They come in different sizes, half page, full page, and so on. So the only thing I ask is if you do it, you don't send it to me in a PDF, because I can't put the PDF into the file or to the software program that we use. If you need help putting an ad together, let me know. But again, if you want to do that, that's great. It's an awesome way to spotlight your athlete, but it also helps us help fund the book. So,
Okay, real quick, I want to talk about WeBoAthletics.com. It's sort of the place, it is the place to go for any information related to the athletic department. Historically, whatever software program we've used in my 7 years, with what we do daily with upgrading the website on like event summaries from the night before, our coaches write summaries. We put them on WeBoAthletics.com, creates a lot of traffic that way. We've always had traffic in our athletic department page that rivals, 4A schools like Noblesville and Westfield, and the different software companies that we've used when they've sent out those to the different schools on the traffic numbers. And I think a lot of that is too that we're very active on there as far as upgrading and prioritizing and showing, what our athletes are doing. You might X out of get us on so I can keep talking. Get us on WeBoAthletics.com real quick. It'll be down there. Oh, here it's off now. Yep. So this is what it looks like. I mean, you saw a picture there, but there's going to be there's some different slides for this, but I'm just going to kind of run through it so we can do it a little quicker. But Final Forms is obviously, it's our registration tool for athletics. It's where you sign off on the handbook. It's where you sign off on all of your forms. It's where you decide which sports you identify which sports your athletes want to play and participate in. It's where you upload your physical. You can access that on this site just by going to WeBoAthletics.com and clicking on Final Forms, and it would take you directly to there to log in. So just an easy way to do it. We'll also talk about a travel consent form, and that's in the other info page. If you click on it, you get all this different info that we upload. The travel consent form is right there. If you go to the top, I think I've already opened it, top right. Okay. It just looks like this, and there's a slide about this, but basically what we tell the coaches is when we're talking about travel from athletic events to athletic events, we provide school transportation. We're very fortunate with our transportation department that, if we have an athletic event, we have transportation to and from. We allow our coaches to decide in their team rules how they go about handling that. If a coach was to say, hey, my team goes to the event together and comes back to the event together, we will support that. Now, if a coach says, I'm going to let my athletes go home, and this happens a lot more at the junior high level. High school coaches have a pretty strong philosophy that you go together, you come back together, you lose together, you win together. Sometimes, when I was a varsity coach, that was kind of our time to decompress. If we had a win, we could celebrate it together. If we had a loss, we could kind of come down as a group together, come back to the school, talk for 5 minutes, and then depart. So at the high school level, they do a little bit more of that. But at the junior high level, lots of times coaches will allow athletes to go home with parents. And if you're going to do that, you must go to WeBoAthletics.com, go to that travel consent form, fill it out, and submit it. The coaches have a Google Sheet electronically that will live update, and when you submit it, it'll show them on their phone that you did that, and then it's their responsibility. They got to check it, so communicate with them, check it, and then they're able to leave. But that's up to the coaches. They'll go over that in the parent meeting. We'll support it either way, but it is there to be used. But it is your responsibility to submit that and then communicate it to the coaches. All right. Okay, currently live, there is a Weebo Athletics team store. So there's multiple other sports team stores right now, and if you'd like to support those, that's perfectly fine. We get asked a lot of times for gear that is not sports specific. So lots of times, seasonally we'll put out an online store. And that other, if you were to go to WeBoAthletics.com, there's a post about it, an article, and you'd be able to access it there. I've put it out in the past couple days on social media, on Twitter and on the new Facebook page as well. So it's open until midnight, August 13th, and then take a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks to get that in, and you'll be able to pick it up here at the school. I think there's usually an option to have it delivered to your house for an extra $10 as well. But that is live right now. Lots of different gear on there. Final Forms, I've already talked about that, on how to access it. Are you gonna hit the gong? That's how she's supposed to interrupt me, is hit the gong. All right, drawing time. You didn't have the guts to do it, did you? Yeah.
It's aggressive.
You should read these things. I'm having a hard time. 2368936. 2368936. 2369010. 2369010.
All right, good deal. It's a garden.
Okay. Good deal. Okay, Final Forms registration. A lot of us have done this at this point. We've been doing it long enough. But log on to Final Forms, confirm your demographic information, choose the sports. It's like manage the sports. You put your student athlete on the coaches' rosters. You do that. So you won't receive sports-specific mass communication unless you choose the sport. And if you don't know what sport your student is going to do in a season, choose 2 in a season. And then you'd get the information for both as you're trying to decide. And then the coach will get it cleaned up when your son or daughter doesn't go out for that sport and they don't see them. They'll clean the roster up at that point. We'll take care of that. But don't be afraid to choose anything that they might pick. And then sign all your documents and upload the IHSA athletic physical. You can upload that yourself. You can turn it in at athletics. The more we get to uploading them ourselves, the easier it's going to be on all of us. You don't have to think of having to go and actually scan it on a printer. You can take a picture of it nowadays and upload it that way. I think I was just talking to Coach Reed about that with youth football recently. Like, you've gone to completely that, right? They can't turn it in by paper. So we're still having some, if you turn it in paper, but, the more we can get to that electronic version, it's just cleaner and easier, especially in the summer when we're trying to collect them all. It's easier that way. So that's the athletic physical. You can download it at WeBoAthletics.com under the other stuff section. There are paper copies in the athletic office. There's also copies out at the table tonight as well. Okay, this is a change, so I want to make sure we're clear on it. And some of this stuff says like IHSA return to play. We're grades 6 through 12. High school IHSA rules, we apply to the junior high. So we just operate cleanly that way, 6 through 12. And so this return to play rule became really, it was always there, but it was something that became real prominent during COVID, as kids would have to be out for 5 days or at one point 10 days. And the idea behind this rule for the IHSAA is medical. They really feel strongly there's a group of there's a medical advisory group made up of doctors that work with the IHSA, and they feel like if athletes sit too long, they need a certain amount of cardiovascular work before they would return. So the rule's always been in place. But it used to be totally different. But it's been narrowed down this year to, if your student athlete would miss 8 to 14 consecutive days due to a concussion, let's say, or an injury, or take spring break, for example. Spring break's always an issue here because it's 8 consecutive non-Sundays. If you do the math, if you go Saturday to Saturday, how many is that? 8, okay. Saturday to Saturday, all right? And so what we have to do is, what used to happen is people used to not practice on Fridays. I guess maybe Friday to Saturday is 8. But my point being, we have to practice on Fridays heading into spring break. And if we don't, and people are able to leave early, then we don't meet that. We don't meet that criteria. We've sat out 8 days, and then we have to have 2 days to return and all of that. So spring break's always an issue that we run into with this rule. But it used to be that you sat 4 days for 8 to 14. Now you sit 2. Or you got to get 2 practices back in. Sorry. I confused myself with my math. But so 8 to 14 days out, 2 practices to return. 14 or more, 3 practices to return. So, and keep in mind, we talked to the coaches about this, but one day for an athlete is either a practice or a contest day. So they can't, for instance, practice during the morning and get their second practice in and then play that night. So it's one or the other. So you're going to run into that at times. If you have major injuries or lengthy injuries, you might run into this rule. It doesn't happen. Sometimes you can go your whole career and not have to deal with this. But it's something that we just want to make everybody aware of. And then the pre-participation practices, it used to be that you had to have 10 practices in before you could play in a contest. If you were going, let's say you were heading into the fall season here, you'd have to have 10 practices. It's been lowered to 8. And then if you're going to go from the fall to the winter season or the winter to the spring season, like season to season, it's always been 5 and it's still 5. So the major difference there is instead of it being 10 and 5, it's 8 and 5. Those are 2 changes that they made this year that really went in the favor, I guess, of us because it lowered the numbers. I confused myself on that first part, but just think of it. Hopefully you don't run into it, but if we go 8 to 14, then you'll have to have some practices to return. The other info tab, we went over that. That's always a place you can go with different, for all kinds of different things, different schedules, calendars, online stores, travel consent form, and so on. That's the travel consent form. Already talked about that. All sports passes. If I go back, you can see it here. On the left, on WeBoAthletics.com, it's circled. Registrations is where you can go if you want to do this online. Once you click registration, you'd have summer camps and all sport passes. Click on all sports passes and it gives you the 4 options. You can pay online. You could also go in the athletic office and pay as well. But those are the prices. We'll sell them. Jen will sell them after the meeting as well if you'd like. Home athletic event ticketing. We are still cash at the gate at home. We will always have the option of buying them electronically before the game. You can go on WeBoAthletics.com under tickets. On that blue on the left, you can see tickets and passes. If you're to click on tickets and passes, you can go there and you can purchase electronically tickets that way. Or you can just always pay at the gate here if you'd like. The high school prices are $6. The junior high prices are $5. Away ticketing, it's all over the gamut. It's cash, Some people are no cash. We would recommend going on their social media, their websites. If you're headed somewhere, like for instance, North Montgomery is cashless. So if you go North Montgomery, you have to go use GoFan. They still use GoFan to purchase tickets that way. So it's different everywhere. If a school is EventLink like we are, and more schools are going to it, if they are EventLink, then you can actually go to our ticket page on WeBoAthletics.com, and it will show their tickets. So you can buy them from our website. Does it show that? Yeah, that's right. So it's hard to see, but like if you went there right now, the first listed ticket says it's from Speedway High School for the varsity football scrimmage. There's a little, it'll say like from Speedway, Sheridan football. Sheridan uses EventLink, so that following week it's on there. As schools update their ticketing, they'll show up. So I would always check there first before you'd go having to search on other sites. And if you buy them online, then they're just going to look like this phone there, where you would show the phone to the ticket taker live and be able to get in. Okay, our communication is primarily Final Forms. That's the way that I send all mass communication out. I'll send it to all parents. I'll send it to individual sports. Jen will do the same thing. Coaches have been informed that that's their way of mass communication, primary way. We know they may have remind apps and things like that to get information quickly. They may even have other parent email groups, but this needs to be their primary form of email. And that's how you'll get your information. We also have the new Twitter logo, by the way. Twitter, there we go. There it is. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. A backpack. It's a nice backpack. 236-9019. 236-9062.
No?
Oh boy.
Yeah, we've got more. We'll just keep going. Oh, say that one again.
62 at the end of it.
There it is. Okay.
936-9062. Great. WB Nike backpack. Okay, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Talked about Facebook last year. Thought we'd get it added a lot quicker than we did. Big, long process, but it is now up live. Facebook, our athletic department Facebook account is not moderated. What that means is we're not getting on there and answering a bunch of questions and spending time moderating that. Honestly, when posts go up, it's going to be set to where no comments are able to be made. It's simply another tool to communicate information to you. If you have any questions, again, email, call, come in. I don't have personal social media, and I just am not getting into spending my days moderating social media and communicating back and forth on it that way. So it's just another tool, just like Twitter, Instagram, to get information out. But it's out there and live right now. We've talked about EventLink. EventLink is really very helpful for us. We both have OCD personalities, very organized, need things color-coded and set in place. And this, we're able to, long story short, all of our games and practices, anything that's done in our athletic facilities, we put on EventLink. It's constantly changing. It live updates, and you have the ability to get the EventLink app and identify, like, you want to subscribe for girls golf, for instance, because you have a girls golfer. You would subscribe to just girls golf, and it will populate for you and show you the practice schedules and the contest and match schedules just for girls golf. You then have the opportunity, if you would want, to transition that into your cell phone calendar. Just dump it in there. It's very convenient for that, but it live updates. So, I'm the only, I deal with this, the scheduling and keep that very close knit. If there's a schedule change, if I make a schedule change to a game, it's automatic, where it would change on your schedule. So we would just suggest that every household gets it. And again, very likely that you're going to need to buy EventLink tickets from a school that doesn't take cash, and just having that is very beneficial. Just keep in mind 10:45 a.m. That's when student athletes and here, I know we have 6th grade as well, but for 7th through 12th in this building, 10:45 is the time that they need to arrive to school to be able to participate in events with, practice, games, all of that. One note with that, we get the question about Fridays a lot. Friday attendance at school has no bearing on Saturday participation. Okay? So that's something that seems like a relevant question, and we get that a lot. So Friday deals with Friday, but does not have any bearing on Saturday. Okay. Academics, I want to hit this. We prioritize it. It should be the number one priority, and it is. A lot of our coaches set GPA requirements and goals for their teams. We have the Team Pride Award. That's that big blue sign there in the hallway that has team names on it over the years. We've implemented that for 5 or so years now, and there's different things that they need to hit. And one of the criteria is academics, and hitting that 3.2 GPA or higher. Everyone must pass 5 classes. You must pass 5 classes at every 9 weeks to be eligible. And how we do it is we just run the grades at the 9 weeks, and if you're eligible for the whole next 9 weeks. If you're not, like you've only passed 4 classes, then you're ineligible for the whole next 9 weeks. And then we go off first 9 weeks grades, first semester grades, third 9 weeks grades, and then end of year and semester. That's how we do it. So at Christmas time, you're looking at the semester grade. So that's how we do our grade checks. If you'd ever have interest in being a college-bound athlete, your student athlete might want to consider that at some point. I would at some point call up Coach Pelly in guidance. We kind of earmark him as the person that will, at least get you a clearinghouse, NCAA clearinghouse sign-in, an account at that point, and you would just want to stay connected with him if your student is showing interest in that, to make sure that you're going to meet the necessary academic requirements for the different levels, whether it's in NAIA, Division II, Division III, Division I. They have different criteria to meet. So very simple, just that, even if you don't even know, if you just want to at any point contact him on that, he can reassure you how to handle that process. Team tryouts and cuts. Just want to emphasize that our coaches do choose their teams here at Western Boone, and as an administrative team, we support that. we had our coaches meeting. We always identify that. You choose your team. As a coach, I wanted to choose my team. I didn't want somebody to tell me who had to be on my team. So if there are situations where we have tryouts or cuts, the student athletic handbook makes it clear that each student athlete is required to have and deserves 2 practices or tryouts before any cut would occur. And if a coach is to cut an athlete, they are to communicate with the athlete and the parent on the reasons why. So that will be, again, within each coach will have their own parent meeting, and they could talk about that further if they're having cuts. We put this in here because some people could just gloss over this, but social media is huge. I'm trying to, I got 9 and 11-year-old sons now. I think when I first came here, they were, I don't know, obviously I failed at math so far in this thing, but yeah, they were little. They weren't 9 and 11, and to even keep them off, I used to be that parent that would be like, Melissa and I'd look at each other like, well, you see these people out to eat, we didn't have kids, and they just had their kids in the iPads or at that time the cell phones or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if we'll want to do that. Well, we do that. They sit in the iPads now, and because that's the only time you can actually get any kind of sanity at times in conversations. So what that's led to is like my kids like YouTube. I got to keep them on kids' YouTube, or I've learned about all these different people, Preston, and all this stuff that they watch. But so far they have not got into Twitter and Snapchat and all that. But I know it's coming. Try not to give them cell phones. My 9-year-old asks every day because he has a friend that got a cell phone at 9. I'm like, that's not happening. But it's becoming a thing already for me at those ages. So I know you guys have kids that are getting on these things, and to be a student athlete is it's something that is kind of a step above. It's not a need, it's a want. It's something that should be, you're held to a higher standard. And coaches will often have team rules in place about, things that could be said or posted. And if you could help from an education perspective on that, and then also from a parent perspective. I mean, I've instructed our coaches. Again, I don't have social media, and one of the reasons I didn't was I started coaching, when I was 18, right out of high school. I knew what I wanted to do. I never wanted to have all that so that I could, I don't know. Honestly, I think I didn't want to read bad things about myself because I knew it would just upset me, So I don't want to see it because people find it easier to post things when they don't have to say it nowadays to people's faces. And, I've told our coaches, they're not going to get into interactions with parents or fans, or they're going to hold themselves to a high standard. Our athletes need to do the same thing. Don't get into spats with athletes from Lebanon on social media that would get back to us, and it's something that we have to deal with. So if you can help with that and have that monitored, we'd greatly appreciate it. It's just want to hold ourselves to that standard. I thought you were going to hit the gong. Okay, I just had a sixth sense. Okay, we're moving right along though. We're all right. We got. Yep.
This is for the flag. That's the first one.
Okay. I don't think the first one has happened. Should I just throw it away? It hasn't happened yet. 2368932. Just wasted 30 seconds of everybody's life right there. 2368945. It's always the second one. Okay.
Carry on.
Okay. Okay. Student Athletic Handbook has a discipline in it. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but you can read it in great detail. It's first offense, second offense, third offense. There's what those things are. It's laid out. Hopefully we don't ever have to deal with it, but you can find all that. You guys sign off on it. If we're ever in that situation, then, we'll converse about it. But it's laid out in the handbook in great detail. Now, conflicting events. Again, we're a school that shares a lot of athletes. We also share with fine arts and, we have athletes that are in band. We have athletes that are in FFA, that are in choir, that are in all these different groups, and we want to support that. And so, again, we communicate with our coaches that, if athletes have conflicts, and we really try as an administrative team, and then working with the different teachers, the different sponsors of, band, choir, all of those groups, we get together on our calendars and try not to make conflicts, try to make it easy on parents and kids. If we run into any conflict, then, the handbook indicates, it's the choice of you all on what you would do. Now, if you have multiple conflicts, I'd like to hope maybe, you'd go to one time and you go to the other the second time and you'd be as even on it as possible. But, coaches have been instructed to work with those sponsors on those conflicting situations that might occur. Transitioning from sport to sport. I want to be clear on this just because if you're ever coming from a different school or you might hear different things, this isn't an IHSA rule or anything. Every school is different. But we at Western Boone do not allow multiple sport participation in a single season. Okay? So you always hear, for instance, at schools, maybe that soccer player that kicks for the football team. We don't do that here. So that's easy to kind of keep track of. A few situations that we do run into, like if you look at the second bullet point here, in the same season, we have junior high boys basketball and junior high wrestling. But boys basketball is largely before Christmas. But then it might go into 2 or 3 weeks into January. And wrestling starts in January as far as practice goes. We have it stated in our handbook, you need to finish basketball before you start wrestling. You need to finish the sport that you're in before you start wrestling, and the wrestling coaches are aware of that as well. It's just to keep it clean, and basically to teach you, if you've committed yourself to something, you finish it before you start something else. And so that's pretty clean and simple there, just to keep those two things in mind. No 2 sports at one time, and then at that junior high level, you have some of that with swimming and with wrestling and basketball. Finish the first one. Okay, just again, it's laid out handbook-wise for you, but we want to support parent communication, really do. I'm a parent as well. I think that your voice should always be heard when it comes to your kid, always. So there's a process though that we need to go through if you have a concern or you have something that you want to communicate. And so, that process is laid out that we really want to try to empower our athletes to communicate with our coaches, so that they will advocate for themselves on their own moving forward and begin to learn that trait. And maybe you're not making their dentist appointments for them when they're 27. They're doing that. So you try to teach that. If it would need to go further, then we would ask you as a parent to contact the coach. Most coaches will have a 24-hour rule on something, and I would ask that you follow that, and then you set up a meeting. If you need to go further than that, then you're more than welcome to set up a meeting, with me from there, and continue to do that. And we'll communicate with the coaches. But if you are to call me and it involves anything that isn't safety related, if it's safety related, by all means, jump right to, where you need to. But if you're to call me, I want to talk about, something related to the game, some sort of playing issue, something like that, then I'm going to ask you if you've talked to the coach. And we're going to want to start there first. And, sometimes there's a concern there, on that, but if you have that open line of communication, that's where we want to start first. And, we've made it clear to our coaches that they should be receptive of that. Made it clear to our coaches that there shouldn't be any retaliation against your kid for you communicating with them. If we would actually see that would be the case, then there would be a concern there or something to, we'd look at. But we believe our coaches are not out to do that, and that our coaches are giving a lot of their time for the money that they're getting paid, the time away from their family, the support of their family to do it. They're putting a lot of effort into it. They want your kids to have good experiences. So this is that process, and I would just appreciate, that we follow that. Sportsmanship is a big one. Again, it's another thing you kind of gloss over in a meeting, but then you have the year, and you have these incidents that change my entire week, that's the best way I can put it, is all of a sudden I'm at a game and a parent gets thrown out. Well, I know what I'm doing for the next 3 days, dealing with that parent, dealing with the IHSAA, dealing with everything that's going to go into that. So, I get it, the emotions that can come with watching, but, we have a sportsmanship score that's given to us by the IHSAA. Every time a parent would get ejected, or an athlete would get a technical, or a coach would get a technical, or a player would get ejected, we lose points. And, eventually we could actually go on a sportsmanship probation if we ever got low enough. We never have. But, I pride myself on, with the athletic ambassadors and the things that we do, we try to be at the top when it comes to sportsmanship. We want to add a banner to the sportsmanship banner in the main gym every year. Last year we weren't able to do that because we had 3 fans get ejected. We had a player get ejected. We had some technicals, this year. And, all of those could be maybe subjective. There's always this thought that, well, that official didn't have to do that. Well, yeah, but if you sat there and didn't do anything, they wouldn't do it. Something happened, and it's subjective, right? You may believe that they didn't have to do it, or it didn't deserve that, but you got to be able to take a step back and understand something occurred that led them to do that, and they're in charge of the game. And that's the other thing. I mean, the administrators, game managers are not in charge of the actual event on the field while it's going on. Those events only happen because of officials, because of umpires, because of starters. Without them, we would not be here. We could not play. It wouldn't happen. So we have to keep that in mind. And again, I don't get too worked up, and the last thing I want to do is lecture anybody, but I just ask you to take a step back in those moments and try to remember that those are people, and we want to hold ourselves to the highest standards, and that's what I ask, and we move forward that way. Okay, getting close here. After school placement, we know at times kids have to stay after school. They'll be in the cafeteria or in a classroom, supervised by their coaches. I just ask that, if you have a practice at 6 o'clock, that you try to not have your kids staying after for 3 hours around school. We don't have that supervision. We don't have people that are allotted to be able to supervise the cafeteria just sitting there. So, and then as far as game day food, the cafeteria will be open after school to get some snacks. No outside food will be brought in on game days for entire teams. What that means is, we want to shy away from big meals being brought in for teams, on non-special occasions. Yes, for conference games, sectionals, things like that, teams do meals. But on a regular basis, we want to stay away from having big sign-ups where parents might feel like they have to, do these big spreads and all of that. So you're responsible for your kid's food, can bring that kid's food in, and just stick with your child when it comes to that. Okay. Yep. Yep. Okay. What we have left here, because my hour, we got letter jackets. Going to talk about that real quick. We'll do a drawing, and then Amber Kripe with Boosters is going to speak for a few minutes, and then I'll get back up here and wrap it up. But let's do, when it comes to letter jackets, I mean, they go to you a lot. You want to deal with that real quick?
So when your athlete earns a varsity letter, they get that letter, and on the back side of it, there's an insert that explains how to go about getting your jacket. So in a nutshell, what it says is, once you've earned that letter, you come see me in the office, in the athletic office. I will fit your child for their letter jacket. And then if I have it in stock, if they bring their money that day, they leave with a letter jacket. Sometimes I have to order. And the letter jackets that we have are purchased by the athletic boosters. And then I'm just kind of the middleman because I'm here at the school. So they buy the jackets for $125 each, and we sell the jackets for $125 each. We do not mark the cost of the jacket up. We give them directly to your child at cost. So if you have a child who has earned a varsity letter, you can bring cash, check, or credit card to the athletic office, $125, and we'll either send them home with a jacket or order it. So we're going to go ahead and do a drawing. This is for an all sports pass, family pass, 236-8955. Nobody? Oh, is it you? That's kind of like a bingo, and like you didn't really get a bingo. So, all right, 236-8993. All right, fantastic. It'll be an all sports pass. I'll bring you the.
Okay, we're going to want to have the booster group talk to you real quick, kind of give you a rundown of how this works. And again, our group's real good and does a lot for us as far as, if you see ticket takers it's the athletic boosters that are doing ticket taking. It's our concession stands. It's our athletic boosters that are manning those. So it really helps us out a lot from an athletic perspective and being able to manage the events and run them. Amber?
We'll take over. All right. You can go for it. Okay. Yep. All right. So I'm Amber Kripe. I am the athletic booster president. I currently have a 12th and 9th grade athlete.
I'm Chelsea Mikesell. I am the vice president of operations in the Sign Up Genius. I have a junior here, a 7th grader, and a 5th grader at Thorntown.
So here are all of our members. The VP of concessions is actually Katie Anderson here in front. So, and we want you to know, if you have a question, who can you go to? What is a caller, what is a closer, and what are those individuals to do? So a caller is going to be the individual that emails the athlete parents if there is a chance for tickets or concessions. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. So just again, kind of who's who for the boosters, but we'll go ahead and we'll kind of talk about what is the athletic boosters and why do we exist. We raise funds for all the awards, trophies, patches, anything that your athlete has gotten over the years or will get. That all comes from money that we have, funds that we have raised, and then we in turn donate it to the athletic department. So our primary goal is just that, to raise funds for the athletes and the athletic department. So this year, oh wait, I'm so sorry, you're fine. We provide supplies to the athletic trainer, We do operate 4 concessions. There's what we call the Snack Shack, which is down by the junior high, the main soccer concession, and the outdoor baseball and softball concessions. So if you have a voucher, which you're going to see, those can be used at any of those. The only concession we aren't responsible for is the outdoor football, because that is the band boosters, and they run that outdoor concession. And then just to point out, we do give 2 scholarships to seniors at the end of the year, and this year we were able to give 2 $1,000 scholarships. So, thank you. Go ahead. This one's a lot hard to see. So, how do we raise our money? We do it by fundraisers. The Kona Ice Truck that will come to some football games. The membership, we do have a table out tonight. Membership to be a booster is simply your donation in any increment to the athletic department. Anybody who becomes a member does get their name in the book that they were showing earlier, that colorful book. And we just ask that, support the athletes. That's kind of what our membership is designed to do. And then the fundraising, all of our concession profits, and then right now, athletic department has their store open. We will also have year-round merchandise that will be sold. You'll be able to pre-order. There'll be different logos, so you can pick your own logo that you're going to want on your T-shirt, or hat, or sweatshirt. And then we will also be selling merchandise this year out of the indoor concession. So, and everything will be. There'll be some where you can pick a sport down the road, on certain things, but otherwise there'll just be a star or the WB, and kind of like they were saying, that general non-sport specific. So, so that is coming soon. Okay, you're right. Okay, so joining the athletic, like we just said, you can get a sign-up sheet right out there. We are giving away the free WB yard signs if you sign up tonight. If you are not aware, by being a member and a supporter of the athletes, if you have a senior and they have participated in a sport, and you are a paid member of the boosters, that gets them to be eligible for that scholarship that's given out at the end of the year. So there's also like a criteria of, I think, a 2.5 GPA, but the key is to be able, to get that scholarship, we do ask that their parents are a member. You don't have to have ever been a member before, but again, if you've got a fall athlete, or an athlete's going to be, winter or spring, and you grab a membership form, we'd love to have you, and then, just continue to look for information on that scholarship as the time comes. And, okay, so I'm going to let Chelsea talk about kind of our volunteers and closers and all that kind of good stuff there. So.
Okay, so what we do, how we get our volunteers to work in the concession stand. Everything in the concession stands are bought by the athletic boosters, and we are in charge of selling them as well. So what you will see as an athletic parent is you'll get an email from what we call our callers. Our callers are assigned each grade level, and then each grade level is assigned a week. So during, let's say it's 7th grade week, you're going to have an email from your 7th grade caller who's going to send out a date saying, hey, we have these events on this week. Can anybody come work at the concession stand? When you come volunteer at the concession stand, you will get what we talked a little bit about, a voucher. And that voucher, you do what? Yeah, and there's a picture, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But that voucher you'll get for volunteering in the concession stand. Let's say you get an email and you really want to volunteer in the concession stand, but you can't do it on your child's week, but you can do it on a 9th grade week. That's perfectly fine. If you follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Twitter's our big one. Do we have an Instagram?
This is our big one. No.
Okay, so just Twitter and Facebook. We will always put the links up there so that you can go through and look at your calendar and say, well, I'm free this day, so I'd like to work in the concession stand that day. That helps us out tremendously. Your callers will send out a notification 2 weeks in advance, and then again in a week in advance, and then they may send you out a text to remind you, hey, we've got this. So there are plenty of opportunities in our concession stands for you to be able to work. It doesn't have to be on your grade level. And also, we are in charge of taking the tickets as well at all of these sporting events. So you'll see Sign Up Geniuses come out for that as well. So you don't necessarily just have to do the concession stand, you can also take tickets.
So don't hesitate to sign up for another week. You can look at all of them. It's more so those callers that we have are considered board members. So it's kind of their responsibility to make sure their weeks are filled. So the detailed out is more so just the way we break it down, but we welcome all and any help for any of those.
So the ECA, we have, wait a second. Is this ECA stuff? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm not good at reading off of a slide and talking about something. I just like to talk about it. So what we do is the athletic department, they'll assign each sport team, which we call our ECAs, a specific week that they're in charge of covering. That coach will get in touch with your team and send out an email saying, hey, we're in charge of the concession stand this week. Do I have any volunteers that'll work it? Now, depending on the event and how many volunteers we need, that will depend on how much money you get paid towards that program. So if wrestling does it, then they'll get $100 that'll go towards their wrestling ECA account here at the school. So the opportunities are at the Snack Shack down by the junior high gym, this main one and the soccer one. Let's see. Oh, and softball too, and baseball.
So there may be a week, sorry, jumping on you.
Yeah, go for it.
That you're getting an email from your child's sport, and also it might be senior week and whatnot. So, and that's okay. Just kind of pick where you can fit in and what you're available for, So each coach is responsible for their own. So sometimes they turn that money back over into the individual athletes, for a player's pack and stuff like that. And that's kind of like set up to the coach's individual. So, but if anybody has any questions, you can always just check with us. But here's the voucher.
Yeah, so when you volunteer, you'll get a voucher. It's a $10 voucher. They can be used at the concession stand except for the outside concession stand. It's $10. So if you have to use $10, you can't use $9 and get $1 back. It's 10 or none. It's just the way it is. But you can also use it for other things too. Do what? Yeah, you can't see very well on there. But you can use it towards some of the merchandising in the athletic office. You can use it towards Letterman's jackets. I know I got Cameron's Letters jacket. I saved up all the vouchers I got, and I paid for Cameron's Letterman's jacket. And I plan to do that with my 7th grader, so.
And you can turn around and use it right at the concession, too. So sometimes I'll be taking tickets, and my son will take that and go right and spend $10 at the concession. But that's what you earn it for taking tickets, and so it can be utilized in that way. Or like Chelsea said, if you've got maybe a 7th or 8th grader, start saving those now, and you can use them for the merchandise that'll be in there that we'll be selling, or to put towards that $125. You'd need 13 tickets for that because, a letter jacket's, more than that. But just, you can just put one towards it. If you do tickets 1 and you have that voucher, you're welcome to save that. And then also you can use them to put in for scholarship opportunities. The scholarships are drawn literally by this here, so if you have extra vouchers, you say you have 5 of them and you have a senior, I might save those, and then if my daughter puts in for the scholarship this year, I can put my extra tickets in there, and that's how she can just get more opportunities to win that scholarship. But that is how we do it. That's why we ask for you to be a member, just so you can draw. So, but.
Yep, I think that's it. So we'll hand it back to you.
And we do have a table out here. I'm sorry, can I just mention one more thing?
Yep.
I probably can just.
Yeah.
I don't think I need it. We do have 2 opportunities for board members. We need a 7th grade closer and an 8th grade closer. And what a closer does, Chelsea's been a closer for a while, so when it says you're 11th grade now? Yeah. So when it says 11th grade week, she'll look at the list of events, and she will be the one to come in and do the bank deposit and just wipe everything down and clean that concession. Being a board member, like a closer, does come with a free family sports pass, and we do meet once a month. The same nights as the school board meeting, we meet at 6. The school board meets at 7. So it's like the second Monday of the month, right? Yeah. So we are looking for a couple of members that want to participate and pick up some of those. And you can't do that now, but you might be interested down the road. We'd love to jot your name down, and so Chelsea can always talk to you about closing since she's done it for a while.
And I only forgot one time.
Like we have a table out here and happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, the list that we showed, like facility upgrades, if we're going to paint the ceiling in the pool or get a new pool or get a new track or get some of the stuff that we've gotten over the years, I mean, that's more capital project, that's more school corporation, helping facilitate that. But when you're talking that equipment list, all of those things, anything that the athletes are using or wearing, the boosters are a large part of why we're able to do that, along with corporate sponsorships and that sort of thing. But that group is very helpful to us. I wanted to go real quick I had it to go to trainer, the Witham. The last thing, and then we'll do the drawing and get us out of here. But Jen's going to scroll up. We are fortunate to have a partnership with Witham Sports Medicine, and we have an on-site trainer from Witham, Sarah Walker, who's here all the time in the evening, and available at events, and covers all athletic events and junior high football. And the one thing to make clear is if your athlete's injured, obviously you can send them anywhere that you're comfortable sending them to. There's lots of times where there's then going to need to be just a cooperation, as far as doctor's notes to our athletic trainer, maybe if there's a concussion situation or there's a certain amount of rehab that needs to be done or a certain limitation in practice, then the athletic trainer needs to be notified of that. So our athletic trainer has final forms, and we'll communicate to you that way. And also, obviously, this would be a way that you could contact her if needed for any injuries or any questions that you have. So we're fortunate in that sense to have that partnership. And on Mondays, Dr. Kraft, our team doctor, visits on site and does injury checks for athletes in the training room when they're coming back from injury. So just wanted to share that information. Okay, I think last slide we just put up here that has our athletic department information, email addresses. Justin Pelly, Coach Pelly, who's our junior high guidance counselor, assists us as well with some tasks that he's able to do that are not time specific within the day because of his duties in junior high guidance. But he does things like posts the articles to the website and works a lot with our coaches on our their sudden cardiac certifications and some of the things behind the scenes that are really important. So if you need to contact us, or again, these are places that you can follow us and follow information. But didn't hit the gong again, but yeah, let's do it. Okay. This is the last pass. Give me the next one. Okay. Oh. I'm telling you, it's not going to matter. Here we go. 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 9, 4. And this one will matter. 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 5, 4. Oh, we might be going to a third one. I'm going to stop throwing them on the floor. That was all for effect. 2, 3, 6, 9, 0, 5, 7. I thought it would have been great if like about 4 people raised their hand on that one, just to get it over with. Yeah. Okay. Again, I appreciate you coming. Make sure if you have questions, pop in, email, call. Jen's kind of at the forefront of the office. If I'm running around doing things, I mean, she's great to deal with. Wouldn't be able to do it without her. What we do would not be possible, basically, with the team that we have. So just if you have any questions, let us know. And there's all kinds of stuff out there. Hit the boosters table and pick up anything that you want out there at the merchandise. So appreciate your time, and that completes our meeting. Thank you.